Alright guys, here's a 55 update, which really is not much at all. This garage is a mess. There's just been so much bad crap going on the last month or so. My father-in-law passed away about a month ago. My compressor switch is out. I'm out of MIG gas in my welder. And really ain't had a whole lot of money lately, so kind of been put on hold there a little bit. But I mean, I did do a little bit of work before everything went south on me. You know, it's been cold, and the propane heater, it's costing me 25 bucks for 2 work days out here. Yeah, $25 every 2 days for propane that's a lot of money, you know, for me right now anyway. But anyway, starting to pick it up a little bit, and now that the springtime temps are here, be a little bit more apt to come out here and work. You know, working all day on cars and then coming home and working on cars, it kind of sucks. But if I can ever get this little crap here done and get, you know, part of the chassis assembled, it'll definitely fire me up a little bit more, I think. But anyway, so I have done a little bit of work. I originally wasn't going to do a video on this stuff until it was all pretty much done, because there's probably going to be some people that's probably going to try to copy what I'm doing, and which I guess that's just the way it goes. But anyway, so I've got these tubular control arms, and I completely disassembled them. I went ahead and filled the weld seams on them, and I went ahead and drilled step speed holes in this forward pad here because it was just plain, there was nothing there. I'd done these like a year or two ago and stepped those, you know, just to give it a little detail. But anyway, I have these completely disassembled to do all this, of course, but I've got a ton of parts I need to Z-chrome, so that's basically where I'm at. But I have 12-point ARP bolts and 12-point nuts to put the ball joints on, and these have a grease zerk in each end. So I bought a giant pack of stainless steel zerks. I'll polish each one of them before I put them in, and I had to build some steering stop pads for my lower control arms. I've got one clamped on here, but I'm out of MIG gas, so I can't get it on there. I'll be plug welding it on. The steering on a car, the wheels, if you turn it all the way, you know, one side or the other, the tire gets into the fender a little bit, the fender lip, so I don't want it to steer quite that far. So this is basically a steering stop. It'll stop it a little bit before the tire reaches it, so that'll be pretty cool. I've also decided these are made from 2 pieces, and they're really kind of shitty looking. I don't like the look of this. I haven't really fully decided yet. I'm kind of thinking about going ahead and cutting them off and just building new ones, and maybe do speed holes that are stepped on the side. And anyway, I just haven't figured it out. If anything, I'm going to put a piece of sheet metal on the whole side of this thing and weld it all the way around and then bevel grind this edge. But I don't like the look of it. But anyway, these upper control arms, they had a hole here that I welded up because they had a bump stop underneath, so the stud for the nut to hold it on come through the upper A-arm, and I didn't like that. It just didn't look clean. So what I've decided to do is this pad that I actually made, this pad here I made myself, I'm going to drill and tap the frame, put a little Loctite on it, and just screw it down in there. So that way the bump stop's hidden and it's completely out of view, which is kind of how factory was anyway. The factory went into this pad, and for some reason these control arms come with it on the A-arm, which is kind of silly. So anyway, I got these tie rods. I had bought these new like 10 years ago and had them on a car, and then I tore the car apart, and anyway, they've basically been in a box. And so anyway, I got them out the other day and I started decasting them. I have to buy the 2 long ones. I'm going to go ahead and buy Moog, 2 new ones, but they have a horrible casting line around them, so I got these all smoothed out. Also smoothed these are Magagi's 2-inch drop spindles. I've got those smoothed as well. The casting on these was horrible, just absolutely horrible. Big, gnarly casting lines. So I got these all cleaned up. These will get a couple of heavy, good coats of Z-chrome so I can go back and block those out. Pretty much want everything on the chassis to be pretty smooth. I'm not going to smooth the steering box. I'm using the factory steering box and column. I'm not going to smooth that because I may end up putting a 500 series power steering box on it later. I do like the way a 55 steers with the manual box. Even though it is a slow ratio, I still like it. It's a 55 Chevy to me, you know. I got all these parts back here are pretty much ready except the valve covers. There is a few dingers in these I need to fix. These are the valve covers I wanted, you know, the old Chevrolet script to kind of make the car look like a, you know, the old school 265 in it. But I'd actually drilled a hole and I used a real baffle out of a, you know, regular old small block stock valve cover. I kind of hated it because it went through the H and kind of messed it up. So I was kind of trying to figure out how to do a PCV system and still use it on the car without it sucking oil out of the engine. So I was going to try to figure out something else out, but it's just, I haven't really come up with anything that's not foolproof like this would be. So I've just decided to go ahead and leave it. I do have the stencils to put on here to redo the script in black, but anyway, my cold air system that I designed comes out and over this valve cover, so it's kind of going to be hard to see if you're standing at the front of the car anyway, so I'm just going to leave it and be done with it. But anyway, a lot of these parts back here are ready for Z-Chrome. Everything is except the valve covers. The rear end cover is a rough cast aluminum, so I'm going to put a couple heavy coats on it so it'll block out smooth. This is a girdle, and it has these Allen head stems that go into it and just had regular nuts. What I've decided is I'm going to go ahead and use acorn nuts, which when I get ready to, you know, if I ever had to take these loose, which I really don't see the reason that I would have to once they're already set. But anyway, if I ever had to take the nuts loose, it's pretty much going to make it a little hard to do because, you know, I can't get an Allen wrench in there once the acorn nut's on. But like I said, if anything, I can take the cover off and, you know, vice grip the deal or whatever if I have to, but I don't think I'm going to need to. But I'm definitely going to put acorn nuts on it because I don't want exposed threads hanging out. It just looks goofy. And pretty much everything I've got on the car so far is stainless, so that's what I got to do there. I did buy stainless steel plugs for these. The ones that came in the cover are just, you know, CAD plated. Also, this says perfect launch on it, and I don't like it. So I went and bought some really thin, polished little sheets of stainless. I have it cut out exactly to fit the cover. Now I need to drill the holes for this. I'm going to use a step bit so it doesn't mar it up real bad. But I'm gonna take this piece of stainless that I cut out for this cover, and it'll pretty much go on there just like that yellow masking tape is. I'm going to take it out of that trophy shop that did my transmission pan, and I'm going to have them engrave something here. I'm kind of thinking about having half rods put on here, and then I'll use a two-part panel bond, and I'll bond that piece of stainless on there, so when you look under there it'll say half rods, and you know, have stainless 12-point fasteners around it, and stainless plugs and stainless acorn nuts. So it's pretty cool just doing a little detail stuff like that for me. It's personalizing every piece. I did drill these out a little bit because the damn thing's so thick. I did drill them out a little bit so the 12-point ARPs go down in there a little bit. This looks a little cleaner to me. And also, the shaft for the upper control arms. This is gold cad, you know, and castle nuts would just be ugly because it's going to be right up visible on top. You know, you're going to see that when you look in the engine compartment. And I didn't want any exposed threads showing on it, so I got stainless acorn nuts for that. I got them for all the control arms, uppers and lowers. I think what my plan is I'll caliper out where the hole is in this deal, but I'll get it all bolted up and everything, and I'll get these on there and figure out where they need to be, and then I'm going to drill the holes so they'll match up with the shaft holes. And instead of using cotter pins, which I already bought a cotter pin assortment in stainless steel, I think I'm going to try some of that braided safety wire like the guys use on their Willwood brake rotors. My boss at the street rod shop I'm working at, he has that pair of pliers that does that, and he has the wire, the stainless wire. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. I think it'd look pretty trick instead of having cotter pins, but so that might be the way to go. But I'll sand and polish these acorn nuts to where they look really nice, and then that way they'll go on there and the threads won't be exposed on A-arm shafts. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. I did sand a little bit more on the car. Actually done some filler work here. I had a low spot, and I got my bike in here. I usually keep it in my shed locked away, but I've actually got it on Marketplace to sell it. I just don't ride it enough. It's a 2013, and I have 2,800 miles on it, and it is still showroom mint condition. I've never rode it in the rain. It's never sat outside in the rain. It's never had a garden hose put on it or a car wash. I always, use a blower and blow it off, and then use microfibers wet and microfibers dry and do the showtime on it. So the bike it's still showroom brand new. I've had a couple of guys come out and look at it. It's a nice day. People show up they want to take your bike for a test ride, of course. So what I've been telling them is I need a $1,500 deposit. And one guy got a little bent out of shape over it. And I told him, I said, you get down here to the end of my block and you go to turn around, you drop it on its side and bust the plastics on the side. It's going to cost a lot more than that for me to fix it. So I think it just kind of separates the serious buyers from the guys that just want to think they can go out on a nice sunny day and test ride somebody else's bike. Of course, all of them, they always tell you, well, let me think about it. That type of shit. I don't think you need to test ride a bike with 2,800 miles on it. I mean, the bike is still brand new. It's still showroom new. It is mint. So anyway, I don't know if it'll sell or not. I kind of like to sell it so I'd have the money out of it, but I got a few more parts to get for my car. I did get a gift the other day. I got stainless steel headliner bows as a gift. It's the hard tops have the 3 bows in them, and they're stainless steel reproductions, and that's pretty cool. Those things are almost $500, so that was a really, really cool gift, and I'm very, very happy to have them. But anyway, guys, so I get my gas filled, MIG gas filled tomorrow, and I get that switch replaced on my compressor, and I'll be back in business. I'll be able to do some welding and some grinding that I need to do. So, and now that the temps are here, I can honestly say I'm definitely ready to do some work.